Guten Tag. So we'd all be talking. Things had gone a little differently. Who's to say they did? It is Sunday, November 30th, 2025. I'm going to recount my record store day saga, which was on Friday, November 28th. Which hopefully you find interesting. There are not many people who enjoy the music experience and owning music the way I do. There's a few. Less and less, sadly. They've got you all convinced that you'll own nothing and be happy. People think that's cool. Like being about nothing, having nothing of substance. Just having experiences is all you need. Yeah, I'm related to a bunch of people like that. They think they got something figured out. Let's not get too bogged down in that stuff. So anyway, I was very excited about Record Store Day. I don't get overly excited about that sort of stuff, but I kind of. This year, for instance, they had, I saw that the Grateful Dead were releasing another couple acoustic sets from the 1980 Warfield shows, where they famously did the, at Radio City Music Hall in the Warfield in San Francisco, as well as 3 shows at the Sanger Theater in New Orleans. Kind of odd. Where they did the acoustic sets and then 2 electric sets. So several years ago, they released October 9th and 10th on a Record Store Day, just the full acoustic sets. And then this year, they released October 4th and 6th. And so, being a deadhead, I'm like, I got nothing else to do on that day, so I'm going to go. Make sure I get those. And they're releasing, most of it's vinyl that they release, it's Record Store Day. But they released a CD of that as well as vinyl. So I set my alarm. I spent Thanksgiving alone. It's okay. And this was the first year I didn't listen to The Last Waltz. I had a friend text me and wish me happy Thanksgiving and remind me about that, and then I was ready to jump into that. But it's an ordeal. It's like I got the box set they released of The Last Waltz, where they got rehearsals and every song. Like for instance, the officially released Last Waltz, they only have Coyote from Joni Mitchell, but she actually did like 2 or 3 songs, and those are on the one they released. Might have been only 2, but there's like another song by Clapton and another song by Neil Young. I can't remember exactly what's going on. I think I see a bald eagle flying off in the distance. I can't be sure. But you see that white tail and the white head. That's what I think I'm getting a glimpse of. It's circling. I enjoy seeing bald eagles. I saw one on Record Store Day. I'll get to that. So, I set my alarm for 3:03 a.m. I just like the 3:03 over 3 a.m., 3:00. I just, if I got to get up at 6, I'll get up at 6:06. I feel I'm revealing too much about myself, but anyway. So I get up, because I'm just excited, and you got there, it's different than getting up for work. It's not so bad. And it wasn't too cold. It was a little cold. It was in the 40s, but it wasn't a cold 40s with wind. It's windy, but so I empty the litter box, feed the cats, and get going. I'm pretty good at getting ready the day before and getting ready to just go. So I drive up there, and it was like 100 and 20 miles roughly. And I get there about 5:30ish. And I'm the only person there. And usually, I guess April, they have a record store day. I know they do. And that's like the official big one. And this is kind of the Black Friday one, which I thought was the bigger one, but I guess it's not. So anyway, nobody's there. And I'm like, all right, no problem. It's in a nice part of Orlando, Park Avenue CDs. Nice, close to downtown, but in a somewhat rural area near some parks and houses and stuff. And then I see one car there with two people in it. So I pull up next to them and I'm like, hey, you here for record store day? And she's like, actually, I'm an employee. And I'm like, oh, it's a good place I can, be first in line. She's like, well, I was told by my manager that there is no line, there's no waiting. They had a raffle for official time slots, and I didn't enter that. I wasn't excited when I get their email every week, Park Avenue CDs, and I just kind of blew that off. So I don't have a time slot. And she's like, well, I was told if you don't have a time slot, come back around noon. And I'm like, I'm here. I drove a long way. I was just hoping that I could get in line right behind the time slots and be first after the time slots. Seemed reasonable. And if you're into music and records and stuff, seemed like you'd understand. And she's like, no, but anyway, come back at noon. So I'm like, all right, we'll kind of didn't get the answer I wanted. So I mulled around a little bit. Then I pulled in the front. This was like in an alley behind it. And there's like a brand new Autobahn school right behind their place where we get to park. And then there's like an alley in the back of the stores. And so I pull around front. And I see another guy who I recognize. I don't know him, but I know he's worked there a while. And I asked him, and he was I thought I was going to get a little better positive response, and he ended up more or less giving me the come back at noon answer. And I'm like, I don't want to come back at noon. I'm here now, and I came from a long way away, and then I'll end up being like 50th in line, But I got nothing. So I left. So I went to IHOP, got the smokehouse combo. And then I went back. Did I do something else there? No. I had to have. What did I do? I think I went to Barnes & Noble. I was just trying to decide if I went back to Park Avenue CDs before I... So anyway, I went to a Barnes & Noble. There's not many of them left, and I went there. And this is right... That's in the complex where the Plaza Live is. Seen a lot of shows there. That's a good venue for shows because nice, safe area. Well lit. It's a good... I like going there. So I go there, I ended up buying an Uncut magazine, which is... it was like a Neil Young special. And using the facilities, which you actually had to go and get like a little piece of paper because they have a lock on the door. And I'm like, do I have to make a purchase to use the bathroom? Because it'll be better if I go to the bathroom before so I can make a purchase. Otherwise, I'm going to have to just leave. So anyway, so that goes pretty well. So then I get back there and it's about 11:30. And sure enough, there's a line of about 50 people that don't have time slots, and now I'm like, maybe it was 30 or 40 or so in there, 30 to 50, and I have to get in line, and I'm not first. And the guy who was first, I had asked him, he was there many hours before I went to IHOP, and I asked him, and he ended up being able to hang around or whatever and get first in line. He had a Frankie Says Relax shirt on, Frankie Goes to Hollywood. And if you know what that's about, that may explain some things. Because one thing about Park Avenue CDs is it is woke central. And that's just the reality. They are extremely... Let's put it this way. I do not and would not wear a MAGA hat into there because I think it would affect even my wanting to purchase stuff. Especially on record store day where you need to get some you give them a list. You literally print out a list and give it to them, check off what you want, and they disappear to another room and come back. So if you're wearing I love Donald Trump, they may come back with nothing because they ran out of all the things you want. That's how woke they are. It's like I don't wear any of my MAGA stuff when I go to get food, because if they see that, you're probably getting 50% spit. And that's just how liberals are. They're not nice people. They're not honest people. And that's been my experience in life. And anybody who's shaking your head about that, you're wrong. Now, you individually may not like Donald Trump, and you probably don't work in a fucking restaurant or at a record store. But the people on that level, and actually many of them, the richer ones too. I mean, our biggest problem is the educated white women with nothing better to do. But, so anyway. So I get in line. Oh, here's what I did. I forgot. So after I went to IHOP, I went over to Rock and Roll Heaven, which is another record store not far from there. But they're more used, and that's a cool place. The guy's cool. And they literally have, you go in there, it's like being in my RV. There's shit piled up in just a stack of CDs here, a box. It's all used. They have some new stuff, and it's all really obscure. But a ton of vinyl, a lot of CDs. And we were actually able to wait there. So I got in line there. I was like 6th or 7th in line. And it was funny because I go in, I had long leggings on, biking leggings that I'm wearing right now. They're not spandex. It's like biking and sweatshirt. And I'm sitting in the sun with the sweatshirt on, and long sleeve shirt and so I go take the sweatshirt off. So I still got a long sleeve shirt on and these. Then I go and put shorts on. Then it was a short sleeve shirt, kind of quickly. And it was fast, too. It was all like, oh, that's too warm now. So then he opens at 10. So I got in that line about 8:30. So that must have been after I left IHOP. I can't remember when I went to Barnes & Noble, if it was before that or after that. But anyway, I went to Barnes & Noble. And he opened the door at 9:30. And we get to roll in there. And I'm like, well, and I mean, why wouldn't I? I got everything. I get in line for everything. I was 5th or 6th in line, 6th or 5th, 6th, 7th or 8th. And he only had like 4 boxes of Record Store Day stuff with probably like 30 records in each. And basically there was a line and you looked through it and got what you wanted and the next guy went. So, and I ended up, I was talking with this old guy, and that actually came a little later afterwards. But so I'll go through what I got. We're 13 minutes in, and I'm just getting to the meat. So I ended up getting this Tom Petty anthology. Now, I don't think this is exclusive. A lot of Record Store Day is only available that day, or there's a limited number, 1,500. This may be, the color of the vinyl may be exclusive, but I believe this is going to be available to everybody. And it's two albums, 4 sides. And I think this is all, there was a CD set they released, the anthology, which I have. But I got this because it was relatively moderately priced for $47.95 for 4 albums is not too bad in today's vinyl age. Tom Petty. It's got some covers, Don't Come Around Not Here No More, I Need to Know. Then it's also got like Ballad of Easy Rider, written by Roger McGuinn and Bob Dylan, and Billy the Kid, that song, the Tom Petty song, I went down hard, ding, like Billy the Kid. It's a good one. Born in Chicago. It's a blues. I don't think he wrote that. So I got that one. And then I was on the fence on this B.B. King, but I obviously ended up pulling the trigger because B.B. King's fucking hot. This is some live stuff in Germany. and Sweden. I'm going to have to go back to the glasses. I wanted to keep them on. From 1968, 1973. Nightlife, Sweet 16, Rock Me Baby, Guess Who, Thrill Is Gone. So good stuff. You can't go wrong with B.B. King, especially B.B. King live. And then I get this one. This is the Talking Heads, and he only had one of these, so I got the only one. These are all demos from September of 75 when they were just a 3-piece. You know, no Jerry Harrison. Look at David Byrne. He looks kind of like a normalish guy there. Just a gawky young kid. And then it's got a 7-inch in here as well with Psycho Killer and Warning Sign when they were called the Artistics. But I got the only copy he had of that. And then I got this, which he had several copies of this. But Miles Davis. Apparently they're releasing a whole box set of this. And I don't go nuts for the Miles, but occasionally it's good to have. You know, if you're going to listen to vinyl, having a few good jazz ones is good to have. You put on your smoking jacket. And so I figured I'd grab that one. That was only $37, so for 2 LPs, so pretty good. And then, now here's where it got good. This is Old and in the Way with Vassar Clements, Peter Rowan, David Grisman, John Kahn on bass, and Jerry Garcia. But this is one of their last shows, and this was they only bought one. The guy at Rock and Roll Heaven only had one of these, and I got it. Two LPs, $47.95. I'm excited about that one. That should be good. So this was in November. It's a couple weeks after the shows from the original Old and in the Way release, which was early October 8th, 9th, 10th, around there. The thing that's significant, this is 73. Yeah. I was going to say it's just after they did their final shows at Winterland, but that was 74, so cancel that. But Jerry was busy in 73. And then was my main motivation for making sure I got to record store day. 2 LPs, $47.95. So I guess that Tom Petty wasn't any better deal than all the two CDs. But 2 sets of Dead, October 4th and October 6th, 1980. And I also got the CD, which he didn't have at Rock and Roll Heaven. I got that at Park Avenue CDs when I went back. Because the CD is what I'll listen to more. It's good to have the vinyl. And the thing that bummed me out, there was an old guy in line who I ended up talking to. Because he saw I had those, and he was like, that's all he was in line for. And I got the only copy the guy had. And then we both went down to this other place. There's another record store right near there, Remix Records, which I'd never been to see if I wanted to see if they had the CD. And he was looking for the vinyl, and they didn't have it. And I'm like, dude, don't worry, Park Avenue CDs will have it. Then I ended up getting in line right behind him at Park Avenue CDs, and he did get him there. So then when I went back to Park Avenue CDs, like I said, I was like 40th in line and right behind him. So we shot the shit a bit because we were in line the whole time. Then we were waiting together in the store. And but I bought most of my stuff. So Park Avenue CDs cost them some money. Sure, they made plenty, but they cost themselves several $700 there. And all I ended up getting at Park Avenue CDs was this Randy Newman, which is the demos for Trouble in Paradise, which is the album with I Love LA and Miami and My Life is Good. And I always thought the production on that was a little over the top. So I think this will be better if it's just him playing piano. And I also got the CD of The Warfield. And then I got this was like a one-time, never seen this, but Petty had some t-shirts of his thing made. So I got one of them because that's pretty cool. Good material too. And then I ended up also just standing in line while waiting. I saw there was a good, I got a Buddy Guy and Junior Wells live at Montreux, which was only $10. Had nothing to do with Record Store Day. But I had another CD, or I have another CD of Junior Wells and Buddy Guy, a different one. That's really good. So that should be good. If it had been anything more than $9.98, I wouldn't have got that. So that was that. It was fun. Good time. You know, and then after that, I went and went to Gringo's Locos, which is a taco place I like in Orlando. And had a nice little meal. And then when I'm leaving, my car started acting up, which it runs beautifully, but it'll just act up out of nowhere, like literally stall. And I was, where Gringo's Locos, it's actually the smallest alley I've ever driven down. Like literally like 2 inches on each side of the car. And it's only like 50 feet long. And there's ways around it. But my car literally got stalled right in the alleyway when I was pulling out. I had to stop to look at the road in front of me. That's where my car died. And it took like 5 times to get it to start back up. And then I backed up in the alley to get back into the parking lot because you can go out like a way that's not through the alleyway, and I wanted to do that so in case it kept stalling. So then I had to endure that and just the uncertainty. You know, that couldn't happen around where I live. It had to happen 130 miles away. So then I get on I-4 to come back home, and I was on the fence about going to Disney Springs, and then I decided the car was running great. Caught in traffic, you know, I'm shitting my pants on I-4 because whenever I come to a stop, you know, and kind of idle seems to be the worst time. And this would have been bad, stalling on I-4. 4 lanes full. So it didn't. So I decided to go to Disney Springs and just see, you know, and I ended up getting on the top flight of the parking garage where it allows you to kind of look around and shit. And I actually had a decent time at Disney Springs. It was full, but it wasn't as crowded as I thought it might be. And it just was all right. You know, I was kind of just going to eat lunch there or an early dinner because I'd had the tacos and the IHOP. But when I go on a trip like that, it's kind of a food thing too because I go to these places I just don't go to regularly, you know. So I went there and I ended up getting, I got some Christmas socks. And there's another set. The other ones are cooler. It's a little of like an outline of Pluto running, but it's kind of not like the color, you know, it's all Christmas colors. And I ended up getting a long sleeve shirt too because I was just wearing a short sleeve shirt when I went in there. And I've got some cookies. Three of those, 2 of those, and a chocolate one. That was under $20 for those 3, which in Disney World is, I was like, oh, under $20. I actually said that to a lady and her little girl who were right behind me. I'm like, oh, that was surprising. And then I watched the guy who plays the acoustic music, Mitch Corbin, at the Margaritas thing, and we had some good interaction. I came in, he was playing Island Style. I don't know if he knew that, or if somebody had requested it, because there was some people who kept asking for it, and I didn't really catch much of it, but I came up and I was like, oh, John Krug. He's like, oh, you know that one then? You know I screwed up the lyrics. I'm like, I didn't catch much of it, but I can go grab my ukulele and play with you. And he's like, before COVID we could, but we can't do that now. But I was also able to ask him about how I could play, because I feel like I could play songs as well as he could. Not that he wasn't bad, but I think I'm on that level, maybe a little rougher. But so he gave me a little info about that, about getting an audition or something. I guess if you pass the audition, you can do it. So that was nice. I watched a song or two. They had like a high school choral group where on their stage there, singing Christmas songs. See, what happens nowadays is like the people who run these choral groups in high schools and stuff, it's as much about them as it is the kids. So they try and do rearrangements of every fucking song, like traditional Christmas songs. And some of them just don't work, man. You should just sing it. Sing it as you know it. As we know it. But they all try and be a celebrity, and it's all like, oh, my kid goes to school where so-and-so is the director. And it's like, so what? I don't remember that being a thing, Like, there'd be wonderful music made by a choral group 25 years ago, but it wasn't important necessarily who the fucking choral director was, It just was accepted that school always had a good thing or stuff like that, What's up, buddy? Billy's been needy today. What you doing, sweetie? So that went well, and then I went and ate at Cook's of Dublin, they have fish and chips, and I like that. They make good, it's pretty good, and they do like the traditional, it's an Irish thing. I don't know if it's a real Irish thing, but anyway, I've been eating there for years when I go to Disney Springs. And that went well. And the move of the day, though, was I had to go to the bathroom at Disney Springs, and all the bathrooms suck. It's just too crowded. They got like 2 stalls and 2 urinals in each bathroom. So I went to Cook's of Dublin, and I was like, ding! And right next door is Raglan Road, which is a pretty nice Irish restaurant. Been there for years, but they got a nice bathroom. And if you're eating at Cook's, you can go in there. And I did, and they had like 6 stalls. Wasn't crowded. That was the move of the day. And then, unfortunately, that night, the night that I got home and slept that night, I spent a lot of time going to the bathroom, and it wasn't too bad. It was, but I don't know what was maybe the cause of that. Whether it was the IHOP, the Cooks of Dublin. Well, the Gringos Locos. But the Disney trip went smooth. I got out of there by 6. I think I got there around 2:30. And I spent like an hour on the roof when I was ready to leave, but just because I wanted to see when the lights turn on. You can see out the rest of the Disney World and like the Epcot Ball, Spaceship Earth. And I left a few minutes too early, so I had to wait. And then finally they turned on the ball. And I was able to kind of film where they do, because now they have lights on it and it does sort of stuff. So I was able to see a bit of that. But unfortunately, they have some pylons. The setup they have to keep people from jumping off makes it hard to look. You can look kind of straight through in front of you, but getting a good panoramic view is very hard to do up there. So I got up to the parking lot about 5:15. I left at 6, but about the last 15 minutes were the only times that was really anything to see. But I played some guitar and stuff up there and then left. And then it was a surprisingly smooth ride home. You go down 27 through Haines City, and then once you clear all that shit in Lake Wales, it's a pretty smooth ride. And I was able to get through Haines City, a lot of traffic, but I caught the lights right and was able to stay near the front, and I got through that. And I resisted going to McDonald's or Taco Bell. And and I stopped at my storage place in Fort Meade because I didn't have my bag with all my Christmas shirts. Was not in the RV, so I had to get that, and I was able to get that because I had to be in there. It closes at 9. You can't get in after 9. I got there about 8 o'clock, and I was home around 9ish. So all in all, a good day. I got the Park Avenue CD people revealed themselves to be the evil liberals that they are. Conform or else, right? I bet you if I had purple hair and a fucking spike in my fucking eyelid, they would have let me stay right from the start. And I wish I were kidding. So that's it. Record Store Day. It's fun. You know, you either get it or you don't. That's one of those things. It's funny, I was talking, the old guy I'm talking with, and, you know, they were, the people who didn't have the time slots, we all filled out our sheet and gave it to them, and they seemed to be just reading them out. They took them all and they were random. It wasn't like I guess maybe they did collect them in order, but we're standing there and watching people come, and I'm like, oh, that guy's got the Warfield thing, and I'm like, oh my God, that young girl's got the CD of the Warfield, you know, and this while we're still waiting for ours, and, you know, just like, oh shit, and he's like, I can't believe she's getting that. I'm like, there's some young kids, you know, and then we both ended up getting what we wanted. So it's funny though, I had all the shit that I bought at Rock and Roll Heaven, all those Tom Petty that I showed you and the Dead and stuff, and I had already bought them at the other store. But I wasn't going to make a mess of my sheet, but I let them pick all them out for me, and then I just said, I don't want these. No big deal. They're going to be able to get rid of them. But, so I ended up just getting that Randy Newman, the Warfield CD, and the Tom Petty shirt. But it went smooth. Everything went smooth. Even the little extra bathroom stuff I had to perform that night. Yes, it's part of my day. Wasn't horrible. It wasn't a bad one. It was a little more frequently than you'd want. But anyway, just the point being that everything went pretty smoothly. Even with that disruption of Park Avenue CDs trying to ruin my day, I didn't let it ruin my day. And I didn't cut my nose off to spite my face. I went back and got what I wanted from them. And the Disney part of it and the traffic, you know, it was a busy day in Orlando, and the traffic was never that horrible at any point in the ride. So it all went nicely. Because Orlando's the center of the universe for consumerism, really. So it went smoothly. All right. That's that. Park Avenue CDs is on there. God, to penalize me for being enthusiastic about wanting to give you money. Crazy. What's this world coming to?